Before I start this review, I'd just like to thank Vertical for sending this screener over to me to check out before it comes out in theaters on October 25th. That is the film Your Monster, starring Melissa Barrera. So what did I think about this film? Well, stick around and let's talk about it. After her life falls apart, soft-spoken actress Laura finds her voice again when she meets a terrifying yet weirdly charming monster living in her closet. The film stars Melissa Barrera, Tommy Dewey, Edmund Donovan, Kayla Foster, and Meghann Fahy, and was directed by Lindy, and I've never seen any of her previous works. So going into Your Monster, I didn't know anything about this film other than the fact that Melissa Barrera was in this film. I didn't watch a trailer going into this film, although I did go to the movies last week and I did see a trailer finally for this film, so I got to see actually what was included in that trailer versus what I actually watched when I actually watched the screener. Now with this film, the fact that Melissa Barrera is in it is going to be the biggest draw to go watch this film. Melissa Barrera, she is a cancer patient and her boyfriend ends up leaving her and hanging her out to dry. She gets very upset by this. She's sulking around the house, crying. She's watching monster movies, black and white movies. One day, she has a monster that's in her closet, and she starts to interact with this monster. And a lot of this movie is really her interacting with the monster, talking about life, having a good cry, sharing some musicals, sharing poetry, and really just bonding with him and really getting to know him. There's also a plot where she is trying out for a musical and her ex-boyfriend is actually directing this said musical play, so to speak. And she has a tough time actually getting the role, and there's some drama with that as well. She does have some problems where her ex-boyfriend gaslights her, and he just acts really big and bad, acts like he's really the big honcho type of director, and he's just really too obsessed with himself and really not caring about her, and you can really tell that she's really much better off without this guy. And really most of this movie is really trying to get her to realize that she does have cancer, but with the fact that she does have cancer, there is some hope with that is brought to the film, which I do see people really relating to. When I did watch this film, I really did think it was related to a lot of other films that I've seen, such as Beastly, Beauty and the Beast, and a little bit of Lisa Frankenstein, but I would say it really is more so on the romance side. There's a little bit of horror in the third act, which I could give it props for. I didn't really have the greatest time with this film. The comedy didn't really land for me. I felt like throughout with the dialogue, I kind of could relate a little bit to the characters, but at the same time, I really wasn't getting into the characters all that much with their comedy and just kind of how the movie was going, because it was a very slow movie. It definitely hinted into Lisa Frankenstein a little bit, but again, it's not horror related, and I felt like there was more behind the story of like a Lisa Frankenstein, even though I didn't like that movie, versus this one where it's just a monster just appearing in her closet with really no explanation as to why he actually got there, and them just kind of hanging out. Yeah, it's great that she has a friend and she can bond with that friend, but I just felt like it didn't seem like it was a movie where it really had a lot of explanation with that whole aspect of the monster himself. The movie to me was also just a drag. I just felt like there wasn't a whole lot going on. I wasn't really hooked to the story itself. I really hooked to this monster. I really cared about him all that much. I cared about our main character's feelings and her trying to get over this breakup, and I do think there's some positive messaging in this film where she's trying to have some self-discovery of herself and know what she actually deserves and what she shouldn't deserve and what she shouldn't really go after, and what she should go after that really isn't a positive step in her life. Yeah, I'm all for that. I think the music in here, the old-timey music in here, is great to actually incorporate in the film, and some of the old-time films with the black and white aspect, that's great to really have in the film. All that is great to have in the film, but when it really comes down to it, this was just a drag to get through. It was a very boring film for me. It definitely made me think of the time that I went to go see Lisa Frankenstein in the theater this year, and as I was watching that film, I wasn't getting the comedy at all, and this was the same type of thing. I wasn't getting into the comedy whatsoever, and overall, it's less horror than obviously Lisa Frankenstein, so the fact that it is more so a rom-com kind of film, you got to be really glued into the story, and I felt like I just wasn't as the film was going along, which was a shame because I do think there are things in here where people can really relate to certain things, and the fact that obviously Melissa Barrera is really great on screen. It's great to see her in a role like this, something different outside of the horror genre, but when it really comes down to it, it just really wasn't my cup of tea. So as far as a score for this film, I would give it a 2 out of 5. Definitely a one-time watch. I have seen a lot of high scores for this film, so it's great that people are enjoying this film, but overall for me, it just wasn't for me. So what did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And if you haven't checked it out yet, are you going to check it out when it comes to theaters this Friday, October 25th? Thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time.